what's good, everybody? It's your boy Taco, and today we're back with another video, a rare midweek video. A bunch of coaches got fired, so that's what we are going to be talking about. There are 8 vacant holes right now. Now, I'm recording this on Thursday night. If there was anything that happened while I wasn't here, please put it up right here. Me in the future probably will forget to do that, but let's hope that I don't. With that being said, there's 8 openings, and let's just get into it and start off with by far the easiest opening, which is the Raiders. I think that they're going to keep Antonio Pierce. This team looked great with Antonio Pierce as the head coach. The players loved him. The fans loved him. He was a linebacker, I believe, for the team, and then he was a linebackers coach. He's a great guy overall. He seems like just the players love him. He just seems like that kind of guy. He seems like a Raiders guy. Like just the way that he acts. He was running up the score. I think twice he ran up the score. He just has fun, and he's real good at his job. And we see what the Raiders did. They won 5 straight games with Rich Bisaccia. Let him go to, I think, Green Bay. And then they went to another cycle of bad coaching. I don't think that they're going to get that wrong this time. I think that they're going to keep Antonio Pierce. Then we move on to the better 7, and let's just start off with the Carolina Panthers. It's not a very good job to have. You wouldn't particularly want the Carolina Panthers job. The one thing that you do have is a young quarterback, and you want somebody that can develop young quarterbacks. You probably want an offensive guy for your young offensive guys, and no main contender is going to go to the Panthers. So they're going to have to reach deep in the bags for a guy. And I think that the guy that they're going to get is Frank Smith, the Dolphins offensive coordinator. They already have an interview set up with him. He just seems like he has been doing it the right way in his time in Miami. Obviously, a lot of people credit it to Mike McDaniel. But look, Mike McDaniel, at least he can hopefully pass some stuff on, or Frank Smith can learn some stuff, because Mike McDaniel's development of Tua has been great. Frank Smith, 1, he had to be a part of that, and 2, he can just copy off what, in my opinion, the best head coach in the league over the past couple years has done. I think that Frank Smith is the guy. And then we move on to the Atlanta Falcons, and when you look at the Falcons, it's a young team. It's an offensive team. Old head coach Arthur Smith, he just wasn't using his guys right. And, their defense, it's playing all right. I believe it was above average last year. Their offense, they just keep on giving the ball to the wrong people. They're not using the right people right. And if you need a guy to scheme guys open, as well as develop a young quarterback, there's one guy that I would really want as an offensive mind, and that's Eric Bieniemy. I think that he's finally going to get a job. I think that it's finally going to happen. It's been 4 years that we have wanted to get this guy a job, and due to Andy Reid calling the plays, casual racism, and just other stuff, it hasn't happened. We need to get this guy a job. He's been the best coordinator in the league for multiple years. Yeah, it hasn't worked out in Washington, but I think that a team is finally going to realize that. It seems like he is getting more looks, and I think that the Falcons are going to get him. Then we move on to the Washington Commanders. And when you look at the Commanders, they're another team. They probably want to develop a young quarterback. The issue, though, is that there's not really many other offensive guys that you have. You have Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson has been linked to the commies a little, but I don't really think that it's going to happen. I think that the Commanders are actually going to get a defensive coach. They're going to want to buffer up that team. They're going to have the young quarterback, work on his own. Hey, if you want a guy to develop a young quarterback, you can take Brian Johnson. Please just take him. But probably not going to happen. And I think that you are going to get a guy. He's going to want to have his own system. He's going to have a cool defense. They still have some good young defensive pieces in Washington, and that guy is Brian Flores. The way that Brian Flores, he is the one Bill Belichick successor that has been doing, I think I said that right, But he has been doing stuff that Bill Belichick would do. He finds all these crazy defensive packages. He was doing it in Miami. He had like a lot of 7 DB sets, I remember, in Miami. And then he came over to the Vikings, and he's blitzing 6 guys every play. He has Josh Metellus playing every single position on the entire football field. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's going to mix you up defensively. And, you know, you're having a division of young quarterbacks coming into it. But also just the ability to just confuse guys is really what puts Brian Flores ahead of other people. There has not been a rookie quarterback that has done good against the Panthers, against the Vikings, or really the Dolphins, even though they weren't the greatest of teams. Then you look at the Tennessee Titans. You fired Mike Vrabel. It was a dumb decision by an ownership that really has just been cleaned out because of bad GMing and just some sort of rebuild that they want. I think that if there was one guy that you didn't want to get rid of, it was Mike Vrabel, because he gelled it together. It seemed like it was more of talent. You had A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry, and when you traded A.J. Brown, there wasn't really any threat at receiver, and even D-Hop, while he is sort of that guy, it's still not like you're bringing guys away from a older, more regressing Derrick Henry. Point being is that I think that this team should stay in their own direction. And I think that they know that they should stay in that sort of defensive coach direction. There also, again, isn't that many guys. And, you know, you have a defense that you want to build it up. I think Mike Vrabel was a panic firing. You want a guy like him, but young. He can stay there for a while. Came from Baltimore, really good in Baltimore. Give me Mike McDonald. McDonald, I think that's how you say it. The Ravens defensive coordinator. You see how the Ravens defense is. Their pass defense has significantly improved last year. I believe that this was his first year as DC because they had Wink Martindale. But just their defense overall, they're always flying to the football, making high-effort plays, and just being good. Pass defense, mightily improved, mostly because of Denard Wilson, which I'm still very mad that the Eagles didn't hire as a defensive coordinator, but because he was right there. Anyways, sorry. It's been great in Baltimore. I think that can continue on to Tennessee. They got some young guys over there, and they got some leaders over there. They can get it done. Then you look at the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks, Pete Carroll, it seems like he's moving upstairs. He's been on the sidelines for a while. He's like 73 years old. He still has more energy than a lot of these young head coaches that you see. He's always out there, always doing his job, and you're going to need somebody to replace that. I believe Pete Carroll was an offensive guy. I'm guessing. You're also most likely going to bring in a young quarterback, but that young quarterback has a ton of weapons. Has Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, JSN, Noah Fant. You pretty much have everybody that you need if you are the Seattle Seahawks. And with that being said, you just need a guy to put it all together. Talk about a guy who has had a so-so quarterback according to some people, but has really put it all together. I'm taking Ben Johnson, the Seahawks. Ben Johnson seems like he has leverage in most of these conversations. He was the hot commodity. I think that's the right word. He was the hot commodity just this entire time, pretty much from the beginning of last season when he didn't get hired and people saw how good this Lions offense was turning into. You want a young quarterback to get into the kind of system that Jared Goff has. You want Ben Johnson. It's a great job. You have a lot of good players, a lot of upside, good fans, just good organization overall. And I think that Ben Johnson will fit in there, just stick to their little Patriot way and go to Mike Vrabel. Then you got the Los Angeles Chargers. I saved them for last. I think that you guys know where I'm going with this. Point is, they have a great roster. They have maybe one of the best destinations in the league. They did better when Brandon Staley, about the second that he got fired. It was a bad coaching job. It was a bad job overall in not Cincinnati, in LA. Point is that it's a really good job. They could land just about anybody. And I think that if you have a guy, he can take your head coach, he can take your GM, he can take everything, he can take the keys to the franchise, he can move it back to San Diego. It's going to be William Belichick. I have Bill Belichick going to the Chargers. It's going to be a big move. But I just think that is what's going to happen. I think that he's just a great guy for a job. He's going to be in there 1 or 2 years, obviously, before he retires. Or in the case of Bill Belichick, with how old he is, he could die. Hopefully not. But, you never know what's going to happen. With that being said, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope that Brian Johnson gets one of these jobs. Anyways, see ya. Peace.